Hello everyone, this is a continuation of the dictionaries data structure. Last time we created a dictionary, we populated it by some values here that were complex values. So when I mean complex here, like the value was not just another string, I mean it was a value of a tuple that was constructed of two different elements. So Kate here in the complex phone book had a phone number and also an email address, and Tyler had also a phone number and an email address, and so on. Of course, Ryan too. Why depriving Ryan? No worries. So anyways, right now we need to work a little bit more with the dictionaries to be able to manipulate the data and be able to access it in any way we want, and do all the fun things that we would like to do with dictionaries. So the number one thing that people usually like to do is to see what is going on inside the dictionary by printing every value in it. Of course, it doesn't have to be like a million record or 10 millions of records of items in there. Right now we only have 3 items, so I'm going to show you the easiest way to do this is essentially by looping over the keys in the dictionary. So for each key in the dictionary, which is essentially the complex phone book here, and we know that it's already populated because we can run it. And I'm just gonna be printing here the key, and that would be person in the dictionary, person in the dictionary, like that. And if I run it, then it will basically print all the 3 people, Kate and Tyler and Ryan. No surprise here. This is definitely one way to loop over the keys and over the data as well. Suppose now you want to print the keys and their corresponding values. That would be easy because we also learned how to do that. We can, if we already know the key here, if we already know the key, then by passing that key to a square bracket here, this is gonna give me, we can actually do this in 2 different steps, like that. So we can say the key here is, which is essentially the person, and we have, and then we can say, and their data is, like that. And then we pass the key inside the square brackets here, and specify the same dictionary, and hopefully that will be okay. And as you can see, we were able to access the keys and the values. The keys were essentially the things that we have to reference in order for us to get the remaining part of the data. And as you can see now, we get the entire tuple here as a single value. Suppose you want to work with the data and say you just want to extract the phone number again, just the phone number. So we can also do that, phone number, like that. And we close this. And now, because we already know that we have a tuple of 2 elements, we can specify the first element with the index, like that, and that is going to give me the actual phone number here. And likewise, if you want to get the actual email address, we can have another print statement like that. And then we specify in another line their email address, like that. And then here we just, all we need to do is to specify the index of the second element, which is index number 1. Because we start with index 0, so the second index will be index number 1, and this should give us the email address for the individuals. I'm just gonna make it look really nice and beautiful here, like that. And this is gonna be printing Kate and her email address, and Kate and phone number, and Tyler and then Ryan, and so on. Suppose you don't want to print it this way, and you just want to print the person on a line by themselves, like that. And you want to have the their phone numbers and email address printed. All right, we have to have another statement here that will capture the phone number like that. So this way I'm basically going to be printing the person's name first, and then if I push it inside, it will look really nice to be presented under the same person. So by putting the /t in the text message here and pushing it a tab inside, so this is going to give me the person's phone number and email address under the person's name without the name being repeated over and over. As you can see here, Kate's name has been repeated and Kate's name has been repeated. So I'm just doing a little bit of formatting here. And then maybe we can make this smaller like that if I run it. And as you can see, now it looks really, really nice being printed out. Okay, so now we know how to work with complex dictionaries where the key is a string and the value could be a complex data type such as a tuple, or that tuple can actually be a list. It wouldn't matter. Now we have to work with some other built-in functions. These built-in functions vary from gives you all the functions that you want to work with. Suppose you no longer need your address book and you want to flush it, and then you want to start from scratch. So there is a function that's actually called clear function. I'm just gonna create another. I'm gonna create another cell here. So suppose I'm really done with this dictionary here, and I wanna flush it, flush the data, and I wanna get rid of it. Then applying the clear function here against the dictionary name with the dot operator will clear it. And if I run it like that, and maybe I need to have the complex here, and then and if the complex phone number here, phone book, I apologize, and then if I run it here in this cell, it will show me that it's actually empty. Suppose now, because now we cleared it, we want to make sure that we actually have data for the next set of functions. So I'm gonna populate it again. Clear this is I ran the same code that we've done above. Now I want to get a specific element in it. Suppose that I would like to get Kate is data, like the phone number and email address. So I'm just gonna specify her element like that, and Kate here is going to by passing Kate's name to a function that's called get, is going to give me Kate's information, which is email address and phone number. And then we can also work with Kate. If I specify the first element of this tuple, it's going to give me only the phone number in the same fashion we've done above. And if I specify the first element, that is the first index, not the first element, the second index, first element, the first index, second element, sorry. This is going to give me my Kate's email address. So we can actually do that. So using the get function here, and then the get function returns a tuple, that one, and then we can specify the index, and this is going to give me now I'm only going to see the last sentence that's been evaluated. So now I really have to use the print function here to see both of them. Now here it is. So using using the get function is a very useful function to use. And suppose that we are not sure if a person exists or not. Suppose that I have another person that I don't know if this person exists or not. So I'm gonna choose a random name, Danielle, like that, and see if Danielle exists or not. And if I actually print like that, it's going to tell me that Danielle does not exist. Clearly, we don't have a Danielle here. This function is also really neat because instead of not returning anything to you, you can also specify a default function. Item does not exist, or you can say person. The more specific your functions are and the messages are, the more helpful this is going to be. So if I specify this function and this person does not exist, is going to print this function here. Is going to print this message here. And as you can see, because we don't have a Danielle here, now I won't be able to. Now I'll be able to see the exact same function that I specified here. So now suppose I want to see a person that exists in my dictionary. It will give me the values because we have Tyler, and if Tyler does not exist, it will give me this exact message here that was specified. So the get function here is a really nice and helpful function. So now working with the get method. Now suppose you want to work with all the keys. You want to get a set of keys and you want to do something with them. It really depends on your application, on whether you want to search the keys, whether you want to do anything with the keys. So there is a built-in function that you can actually get using the APIs, and you'll be able to receive all the keys from the dictionary. So now if I am gonna put this comment here because that's where it belongs, I'm gonna use the complex phone book, and I'm going to ask for all the keys like that. So this is gonna give me my keys. And if you are not sure about the kind of data structure that it will return, you might want to actually apply the type function to see what kind of data structure this is. Is it a list? Is it a tuple? Is it a set? What is it? We don't know yet. So what we need to do now is to print this type here, and it says it's a dictionary key. It's a class of a dictionary key. So now if I have these keys, I can print them. I can loop over them for each person in my keys like that, and then I can just print the person because I'm printing the keys. And if we don't like this function, this little annoying print message here on the screen, we can just uncomment this line, and now we see all the keys. All right. Does this mean that we can also get all the values from the dictionary all at once? Why not? So indeed, there is another function here that gives you all the values for all the keys that you store in a dictionary. So now if you actually grab this dictionary here and you apply a function called values, this is gonna return a class called myValues like that, and then I can actually print for each entry in my values like that, and I can print the entry like this. So this way I will be able to see all the entries stored for each individual. So it's really nice, but it also doesn't tell you which value belongs to what person, or who's the owner of this entry, who's the owner of that entry. So is there a way that I can get all the keys and the values in terms of a pair that will help me to see the keys and the actual values? There is. It's really nice because Python, the Python built-in functions are really very nice and gives you everything almost you need without having to worry about writing your own code. So now we have the dictionary here. If I apply the function that's called items. This is going to return my items, like that. As a matter of fact, we can actually do this all in one shot for each key value in the items, like that. This is going to give me the key and the actual value. So now I can print key, and I can have a really nice message here that says person is, like that. Right, and I can also have the actual values. Entry is, and then I can have this value here, and if this entry is, if you only want the email, the phone number, like that, and then I'm gonna push it inside, like with put a tab inside. I can specify the first element, and I will do the same thing for I will do the same thing for the actual value, for the actual email address, like this. And now I'm going to specify the email address which exists at index 1, and now I can also do print a really nice format the function here, so I can see the keys and the values coming from the items, and then I can print them. And this should be sorry, we have a little typo here, and this should give us the same thing. So this is a very useful function. Working with the key and value is very desirable when you're actually working with dictionary data. You might find both of them, having the key and the value both, to be very useful and very significant function that you will need constantly, especially again when you work with these dictionaries in reading data from databases. This is it for today. I will be following up later with some exercises that we can do together. Perhaps these exercises could involve converting a tuple into a dictionary, or a list of tuple into a dictionary, and also such as this one here. I believe we created here a bunch of a dictionary with complex tuples, complex data types such as a tuple. And if we store these guys in a list, there's going to be a list of tuple. Can you work with a list of tuple to convert it into a dictionary? This is something that we can do next time. And also constructing and populating a dictionary from a file. Suppose that you've been given a text file, and the text file has data, maybe student data, maybe recipe data, maybe I don't know, people with the driver license information. Who cares? Maybe social media data where people have their Twitter handles in there. Can you construct a dictionary from these files? This is what we will cover next time. Thank you.